Hey guys, Batman13 here, and this is my custom Lego muscle sculpt tutorial. Now, you guys have been requesting this so much lately, and I know I've been gone for so long, but I really wanted to bring my return back with a bang. And here it is, guys, the most requested tutorial slash video I have ever gotten. My custom Lego muscle sculpt tutorial. So here it is, guys. Now, for those of you who have been asking for this, now I know I really want to get one thing out of the way. I know I'm not a professional sculptor or anything by that means, but I like to think I am an okay sculptor, and I'm pretty good at this. And I've been doing this for a lot longer than a lot of you guys now, and I really have seen a lot of you guys struggle with this on Instagram, YouTube, whatever have you. But this is definitely just going to be my technique and how I do it personally, and how I think the easiest way to do this is, and I really wanted to give you guys some few tips on how to do it. And definitely don't take my tutorial like heavily and just do everything by what I say. Definitely get creative with it. Whatever your character is, definitely go by that and don't go by what I tell you to do. I definitely want you guys to be creative with this. Don't just stay strictly in what I say, but be very creative with this. I really want you guys to have a lot of fun doing this and be creative, whatever you, because after all, this is art, and that's the #1 thing, is just be creative with this. So, like I said, don't take my tutorial heavily, be creative with it. And yeah, that's pretty much about it for this tutorial, guys. Now, the tools you will need is just some basic sculpting tools like that one, and just this, and obviously clay, whatever you guys would have, green stuff, clay, whatever like that. This is green stuff. It's just a dark green kind of 2-part epoxy clay. Now, if you guys have baking clay or whatever have you, that's fine too, but I definitely recommend you guys have green stuff or Procreate. You can get that off of Amazon. I don't think you can get Procreate, but green stuff is a great place to start. Is what a lot of customizers are starting off with, and I definitely recommend it. I made the switch to green stuff a while ago, and I definitely see a lot of improvement in my sculpting, and it's definitely just a really great clay to start out with. So definitely green stuff is a great starter for clay. That's what I'm going to be using in this video, and all the parts you will need to do this is either a black torso or the Lego Batman movie Batman minifigure, because this is going to be very helpful for newcomers, but for people who have been doing this a lot longer, it's fine if you guys want to take a plain black torso, but I get into that later in the tutorial video itself. So wait along just a little bit for that, and I'll get into that just a second. But yeah, so that's about it. As you guys can see, if you guys have done what I tell you to do, and you guys have done it correctly, you will have something that looks like this. Either stuff that looks like my Batman, Superman, or Green Lantern, or even my older Batman figures as well. But definitely what you guys see in the middle is what I'm going to be making in this video. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into this tutorial video. Okay guys, so for the first step in this tutorial, we're going to get our figure. Now, it depends really what figure you're trying to go for of the overall shape. If you want to go for a Superman figure, you're going to use a Superman torso. If you want to go for a Spider-Man, you're going to use a Spider-Man torso or Superman torso, because it really depends on the base color of your suit. I'm going to be making a Nightwing with this, so I'm going to be using a black torso, and the perfect torso to use for a black torso is going to be this Batman figure from the Lego Batman minifigure series, because when you take off the belt, it's a really great print, and it shows all of the abs, and there's no print of a belt. Now, if you do have a belt, like I don't know, like on a Robin or a Superman, or even on the old Batman figures, you will have a belt printed on the torso. Now, what you want to do with that is you just kind of want to add another layer of abs that almost look like the exact same thing, if not smaller than the abs you just sculpted above that. So it's really going to be quite easy, and you'll kind of get the hang of it the more you do this. Now, this definitely does take practice. I've been doing this for years now, and I'm still getting better at it, and I'm still improving. I'm still not the best at it. No matter how many of you guys agree if I'm the best or not, I'm still getting better at this, and it's still a work in progress for me personally. But yeah, so basically overall, you're just going to want to take the torso that matches the base color. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the actual sculpt process. You're going to take off all of the limbs, arms and legs and torso, and you're going to keep the torso, but you want to move all of the other accessories. You don't need those for right now. You just need just the torso, because that's all we're going to use for now. We don't need the arms yet. We're going to do that in a different section while this is going to be drying. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into this. So first of all, what you want to do is just take a little ball, take a little piece off of clay, and make sure your clay is nice and mixed up together. Make sure it's one solid dark green color. It really doesn't matter if it's like a really dark green or maybe a slightly darker, slightly lighter green. It's really okay either way, but you definitely want to make it smaller. Definitely want to make this a sort of a smaller ball just to start off with, because we're going to start off with doing the chest. You definitely want to have two identical sized little ball shapes at first, because that's going to make the chest as equal as possible in the sculpt process, and that's just going to be across the board pretty much. For different abs, we're going to do the same exact thing. For the arms, we're doing the same exact thing. So it's really similar across the board for arms and chest and legs, because we're going to be just doing balls pretty much, and then we're going to form them to the torso. So yeah, without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and form it to the torso right now. Starting off, we're just going to kind of form it to the chest. We're going to stick it on the torso right now. It's kind of hard for me to do this in shot, because I like to kind of get it right up to my face, just because it's a lot easier. Now, you don't want to necessarily go completely against Lego's print, because Lego can't exactly print all the way across their torso. Well, at least they don't. So you definitely don't want to go by bad example. You want to kind of improve on this. That's what the whole goal is of this thing. Now we're going to get our sculpting tools. You can either have a rubber one or a metal sculpting tool. I usually like to use this for painting and everything I really do, and it's just such a useful tool, so I like to use that. And make sure your chest is flat up against the ab line, because the ab line is going to be the center, or at least the center of the bat logo. You definitely want to have a center line, and that is going to improve your figure if you have a center line. I don't really care what your figure is. I just know that if you have a center line, it is going to improve this figure so much, and you're going to be thankful for that. Now you have the first part of the chest kind of done. Now we're going to go ahead and add on the second one right now. I might cut this part out, but I want to cover as much stuff as possible, and I really like to be thorough in my tutorial, so I think I might leave this in or leave this out. I'm not sure, but I like to be thorough in my tutorials, and I like to try and get you guys to do the best job as possible in customizing. Now, like I said in the intro, I know I'm nowhere near perfect at sculpting or anything like that. I just like to think I'm pretty okay. I'm pretty good at sculpting, but I definitely don't want to be prideful and say I'm the best there ever was, and try and, you know, compare myself to some major legends of customizing and sculpting of Lego minifigures. But I definitely don't think I'm the best. I definitely do think I have some sort of skill, but like I said, I don't think I'm nowhere near the best. But again, you guys have been asking for this tutorial for a long time, so I'm doing it for you guys. I'm not doing this to pride myself or degrade myself. I'm just doing this solely for you guys, because I have seen a lot of people struggle with this certain part of Lego sculpting, and it is muscles. And I definitely just want to help everyone improve on their muscles, and I definitely think this is going to be a helpful skill. So you kind of want to smooth this in, and that's kind of going to be our chest. I mean, that's kind of good. Now, you can use your rubber tool and really get in the grooves more and try and smooth it out that way, but I don't know, I think that's kind of good. I'm going to improve this later on off cam, because I definitely think I can do a better job. But yeah, we're going to smooth that out just a little bit, squish it together just a bit, and I don't know, I think that's pretty good. What do you guys think? Alright, so that's going to be it for this segment. Now we can go ahead and move on to the abs. Okay, so I think that's a pretty good start, and as you guys can see, I modified it a lot just to get it to the perfect shape I want it to be. Now again, you don't want this to be really like a stinking huge chest, unless that's what the character has, depending on what character you're trying to make. But for a Nightwing, I don't think it needs to be necessarily huge. I think this is fine. Now what we're going to do is just do the rest of the abs, and again we're going to do the same exact thing. Now guys, like I said, smaller is key. The smaller you make it, you can always add more, but you can't really take away that easy. Now you can take away, but it's going to be a little harder to take away stuff that you already did. Again, you can, but it's definitely a little harder than you know, adding more. Again, we're just going to kind of shape this into the print as much as possible. It's kind of hard for me to do, but I'm going to do this off cam anyways. After I'm done recording this segment, so again, I'm not doing this perfectly as much as I can, but I'm going to do this off cam, so definitely I want you guys to try and do your best and line this up with the print. For my eyes, it's easier to see it that way, but you can do whatever way you want. Alright, do the same exact thing, and yeah. Alrighty, so we're done that section. Now we can kind of move on to the other part. Obviously, I smoothed out this on off cam. Again, just try and do the best you can with this. It's really going to be really important. You can't really sand too much of this, but we're going to sand as much as we can away as this at the end part of this video, just to kind of smooth things up a bit and kind of define stuff more, and just really get a better shape overall. So the second part we're going to do is the same exact thing. Just keep doing balls using little ball shaped clay pieces. This one's going to be smaller. Obviously, the smaller the shape, the smaller the ball shape is going to be as well, depending on how big the abs are supposed to be on your figure or chest or whatever. But yeah, again, just use two ball shapes that look pretty vaguely similar, and that's what we're going to use for that. So yeah, without further ado, just kind of put it on as always. Again, putting it on, lining it up with the print, and then smoothing it out. It's really not that hard, guys. It's really vaguely easy. Really easy. And again, this is a very easy part of the tutorial. Alright, so now we got one side. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side off cam. Alright guys, so we got that part done as well. And now we're going to do the same exact thing just for the bottom last two. Now again, this is where it comes to the part where you might meet a utility belt print on your torso, but this is a fairly cheap figure that a lot of Batman fans have. So this should be a popular figure in your collection. It sure is in mine, so definitely if you have this torso, I'd recommend using this again. But definitely if you don't have this and you just have the old one where the utility belt was printed, again, just kind of go off of what you see here, and just kind of on the first two right there, on the one we're going to sculpt right now, just kind of do the same exact thing but below that, and trying to keep on the torso as well. Unless you are trying to copy their utility belt as well, then just kind of copy the print again. Now, I don't know if a lot of you are going to use my technique of using this torso, but again, I would fairly strongly recommend it, of using it. Again, take your time with this, but this green stuff is drying out a little much because I think my room is a little cool right now at the moment. But yeah, again, go by the print, see what you can do, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's really not much to it. Now we're going to go ahead and do the other side off cam, and I'll meet you back with the last two abs. Okay, so we got that part done as well, and now we're on to the last part. Now this is where you're going to find the utility belt. If you didn't find it right where I sculpted the other ones, you're definitely going to find it here without a trace of a doubt. So this is where you decide where you want to keep the utility belt print on, or just sculpt it onto the crotch piece, which is a lot more accurate, where a belt would actually be on some cases, in most cases actually. So yeah, that looks pretty good to me. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and just sculpt the other two abs right now. Now again, on this torso, they look pretty much the same as the ones you just sculpted, if you're following along. that is, but they're pretty much the exact same thing. And again, it doesn't go all the way down the print, so again, you're going to want to leave a little space at the bottom. And these ones are going to be a little smaller, so you definitely want to make a smaller kind of roll here, little, just that small. It's not small at all. These are going to be the smallest ones out of all, just because I like to, for mine at least, I like, oh sorry, I'm not even showing you, for my customs at least, I like them to be smaller so that they kind of have, the chest kind of has that angle downward, and I definitely think it looks a lot better. I do that for most of my customs, if not all, I think, so far. So I think that's pretty good, and this is really not the hard part. When it gets down to the last few abs, like, that's all it took. It took me like 2 seconds to do that, and I have to do the other half. So yeah, I'm gonna do the other half, and we're gonna let this dry, and we're gonna go ahead and do the arms. And then first of all, we're gonna go ahead and let this dry. I'm gonna do the other half, and then we're gonna go see how this looks at the end result, and then we're gonna go move on to the arms. Okay guys, so here is the next part, and this is going to be the arms. Now guys, this is probably going to be the easiest part of the entire tutorial, depending on which figure you're trying to make, and this is where the decision comes in, because some characters do have some defined stuff in their actual arm muscles, so depending on the figure you're trying to make, it might have to take a little bit more detail, but this is just going to be the simple version of it. I'm not going to do incredibly in-depth into this because it really doesn't need to be that in-depth. You can pretty much get away with anything if you just paint it over, but anyways, we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. Now first of all, the things that are actually like holding the arms here are these little lightsaber type, if I can get it in frame, are these little lightsaber blades from Brickforge, and it really just fits right into the arm socket, as you guys can see on this arm right here. So it just fits in perfectly, and it holds it really well, and that's the only reason I use it, is just so you don't get your hands all over the final product, and that's the only reason why I do that. So yeah, without further ado, let's get head in straight into this. First of all, by doing the same exact thing we've been doing, and just rolling off little balls of clay. Now these are going to be semi larger than most of the balls we've rolled together. I guess that, if that makes any sense, just because we're going to do the top of the arm right here. Again, just mix a ball and trying to get it two of the same shape, kind of to the same size ball, I guess you would say. Okay, so now we got in two of the same size type balls. You might need to go bigger depending on how big you want to have the muscles, or smaller, but definitely always want to go smaller, like I said in the beginning of the video. So without further ado, let's just kind of put this on, and basically what we're going to do is just smush it on right there, and then we're going to smooth it out around the arm. Don't want to go too far down, but you definitely want to get all around the arm, as you can see. And just go all the way around, trying to cover the entire top part of the arm. You're not going to go all the way down, but we're just going to go a little bit at a time, making it a round type ball. And that's why we're using like the same shape balls. It's just so we can get a rounder shape, and it kind of has the consistency on both arms, so we're not having like one arm lopsided, and same vice versa with the not vice versa, but the same thing with the abs and the chests, just because we want to have our chest and arms kind of the same size. I'm trying to keep this in frame, but it's kind of hard when I'm not looking at the camera. So yeah, kind of like that, and that's pretty much it for that. Now we can move on to the lower half of the arm, so I'm going to go ahead and get right into that and just start rolling up some balls for the other parts of the arms. Alright guys, so I've pre-rolled out all the balls that we need for the arms. Now I also did the same exact thing on both arms. I went ahead and did that just because you guys don't need to see me do the same thing twice. So I did that, and now we're just going to go ahead, place this on our little stand, because you do want to put this on some sort of stand while you have it, and just put that to the side, just because you don't want to like have clay getting deformed by when you're putting it down on the table. You definitely don't want the clay to be deformed by putting it on a table and it getting squished. So anyways, we have the other two balls for the backs of the arms. Now I'm just going to go ahead and apply those. Now the backs of the arms, this is going to be the thinnest part of the arm, just because we definitely don't want to do it, but we don't want to overdo it here. We're just going to add a little bit. And this one's going to be pretty small of a ball as well, as you guys saw, but it's not going to be that big, and it's going to be pretty small. It's not going to be very big at all, because we don't want this arm to be incredibly unrealistic and huge, which I've done before. So that kind of looks pretty good, I think. It's not too big, and it actually gives just enough definition. Now, for some figures, like, I don't know what you would say, my, like a, let's see, Golden Age Batman, this will be perfect, and you'd be done here with the arm. But if we're just going to keep going, and we're going to keep doing the front of the arm. Now, this arm is going to have an even smaller little ball there. Very, very small, and it's very important you keep it very small. We're going to roll this up into some sort of an oval. So it's still kind of circular, but really kind of an oval right there. So we're going to go ahead and put that on the front. I don't really know if you guys can see this very well, but we're going to go ahead and put that onto the front there. Squish it down and do the same thing, just smooth it out across the arm. Now you definitely want to leave a little bit of room here for the wrist, because that's a very important part of the arm, and it definitely gives it a better look if you actually have some sort of a wrist kind of going for you there. But if you don't, that's perfectly fine. And if you're just starting out, you know, you might not have the best of luck with this, but I think this arm is turning out pretty good. I might not have to do too much work off camera, because I'm going to be doing a little bit of work off camera, but that looks fine to me. Now, if you guys want to, you can sand this down a little more just to give a smoother kind of finish, but that looks fine to me. That's the arm done. So now that we have the arms done, we can go ahead and move on to the back of the torso and the legs, and then we can be finished with this tutorial. Okay, yes, now we've got two balls that look pretty similar to each other. We're going to go ahead and put those on right now. Now, most of this sculpt, you guys can pretty much tell what I'm going to do. Smoosh it onto the given area and just smooth it out. That's really all we're going to do. Now, by this part, we're just going to kind of stay in the lines that Lego printed, but just keep kind of making our own shapes here, and just keep going with this. Is really what we're going to have to do here, and try to make it look like a shoulder blade than anything else if you really need to. And if you guys don't have a print, like I said, just do your best and just make it look as similar to the actual muscle or body part as possible, and you'll be fine. And it's really not that hard to do. It's just about smooshing shapes on. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and just kind of leave that right there, leave it half. And yeah, it's really not that hard. Again, this took me literally like a second to do, so that's not hard at all. We're going to grab another piece of clay, and we're just going to do the actual bottom of the torso here. So like the bottom half part, we're going to go ahead and just take a very small kind of piece of clay here. It's not that big, because we don't want this to be very big. We're going to go out on the spine line here, and we're just going to kind of go like this, and just keep that shape going, really, is what we're gonna do right there. So that's fine. Just keep inside the print and have that print line, and just kind of follow on that line, and you'll be fine. And it's really not that hard. It's probably the easiest part you can do. And now use your tool if you need to smooth out just a bit more. I'm gonna smooth mine like all the way up here, just to get that smoothed out as good as possible. Now we're going to use this tip just because I found it a lot easier to do. It's a lot smoother of a tip, and we're just going to kind of brush that right down, and there we go. It's going to be very, very easy to do, guys. This is not that hard. A lot of you guys really like my muscle sculpts and think it's the hardest thing in the world, but it's not. And you guys can do a great job at muscle sculpts, and it will be very, very easy for a lot of you. I know it's hard. It looks hard, but for most of you it shouldn't be that hard, and it's actually not. It's very, very easy to do, very, very simple. We're just going to use our finger and smooth the rest of that out. That looks fine to me. We can just smooth out that side of the torso as well. Now you can go ahead and just, if you're done here and you don't really want to do too much, you don't have to. You can just kind of do the rest, sanding it, and just kind of touch up on that a little bit with sanding. You'll get away with it, and it's fine. But yeah, so for that part, that's pretty much done. Now I'm going to do the other half of the torso, and then we'll move on to the rest of this back of the torso, and then the front, and then move on to the legs. Okay, so now we are done that, I have gone ahead and I've done the other side because, again, you guys don't need to see me do the same thing twice. So now we're going to go ahead and just do the sides right here of the torso. As you guys can see, there's defined lines right there. We're going to go ahead and kind of give our own defined lines, but we're going to make it 3D. Now for this part, we definitely don't need a lot of clay. It's not going to be a lot at all. Just a little bit. Now I'm trying to find just the right amount here, but I think this might be good. Just a little piece, just a sliver, and we're gonna go ahead and just our own line and define that out. See right there, because this wants to focus. We're gonna go. We're gonna go ahead and have our own line there, and so we have that line, right? Define that just a bit more. And what we're going to go ahead and do is just going to smooth that out and then carve our own line into it. Now, if this makes any sense to you, hopefully it will soon. But what we're going to go ahead and do is just kind of smooth that out just a bit, keeping the line a little bit, because you definitely want to be able to carve your own line in somewhere and have some sort of direction to put it. And we're going to go ahead and do, this is the tedious part. This is also optional. Kind of take your sculpting tool, toothpick, whatever, and just carve your own line in like that. Just like that. Really simple. Really not that hard. Right, just right there. If you guys can see that, I kind of carved my own line. And what we're going to do is just kind of branch that out a bit and just smooth it out. Because this doesn't have to be a very thick and like sharp line. This is going to be very smooth, and this is going to be very like spread out line. So that's going to be very smooth, and just get that as smooth as possible. I'm going to do that off camera, do the other side. So yeah, without further ado, let's move on to the front of the torso, and we're going to do the same thing on the front as well. I don't need to show you how you guys can do that, but basically what we did here, we're going to do here on the front of the torso as well. Now that these lines are exactly the same, we're going to go ahead and just do that as well and knock that out really quick. Alright, so now we have the torso all together, and here's how it looks so far. Here is the back of it, and if you let this focus just a bit. So here's the back of it, and then there's the front, and then there's the arms. You should have something that looks at least a little bit similar to this. Obviously, you might not have exactly the best looking thing, but like I said, less is more. Definitely less is more. With this kind of stuff, you can always add more, but less is definitely more, because when making muscles, you want to make it very subtle. You don't want to make it very extravagant and puffy, and it just doesn't look good. You want to keep it less is more. So yeah, that's really the key about this tutorial. But now we can move on to the legs. So obviously all you're gonna need is the legs off of that figure. So you can throw that to the side just for now. But for right now, we're going to just use the legs. Now we're not going to do this. We're not going to take the legs off the crotch piece. We're gonna leave them on. And the reason why we're doing that is just because we want to be able to, we don't want the crotch piece to kind of scrape off the clay or like chip off the clay when you're putting back on the crotch piece. So you want to be able to figure out, you know, where you want to put the clay and everything like that, just so you know where you're going to have to put the clay and everything like that, so it doesn't, like, you know, scratch off. So you have to keep it like that just so it doesn't scrape the clay, but you want to have it kind of standing straight up. Now, if you're going to do legs, just a really big note, like on this Superman here, you realize you cannot actually bend him forward. He's only going to be able to bend forward just the slightest little bit, but he cannot bend forward at all. This is just for display purposes. So for people who want to be able to put this and play with it and like put it in the spaceships and whatnot and everything like that, this is not for you. Just keep the legs plain. You can paint the muscles on if you want, or just add very subtle, or sand down the crotch piece a bit more, but I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, so those are your two options, is just to paint the muscles on the legs, or what you can also do is you can pretty much just, you know, sand down the crotch piece a bit so it's able to go and glide through the muscles very smoothly. But those are your two options. If you want to do either of those, that's completely fine, but this is just for tutorial purposes. I'm going to go all out just because if you guys do want to do muscle sculpting, this is going to be for you as well. So you probably already skipped over this, but whatever. We're going to go ahead straight into the legs right now. So what you want to do is we're going to use Superman as a little guide here. As you guys can see, you already have a little bit of a knowledge of what this looks like. You can also just go out reference, and obviously you're going to be doing this most of this tutorial, the reference of the character you're trying to make, just to see what kind of muscles and how the muscles look. But most muscles are going to kind of look basically the same vague kind of shape. Now, like I said, less is definitely more. With this figure. Now, you don't have to have too much. This is like the littlest bit of clay. You don't need that much, but make sure you have the legs in the position you want. If you want him to be bending over for some reason, then do that, and then you just sculpt a little bit less muscle, I guess, on the legs, but that's it. But for me, I'm going to have this figure standing straight up, so I'm going to do that. I'm just going to have that figure standing straight up like that. Now I'm going to be using Superman as a reference because I feel like I did a pretty good job on Superman. So what we're going to do is just kind of squish that right there, you know, kind of get it in an oval shape. And this right here on the leg, as you guys can see, is kind of leaning down, it's kind of at a slant a little bit, so it's kind of like making a V almost. So it's kind of like that, I'd say. And then this side's kind of a thicker kind of V shape. Now, it's fine if you kind of puff out on the side of the legs. That's actually good, because you want this to give it a 3D kind of appearance. I'm not making very good. I'll tilt the camera down just a little bit so I'm comfortable. But yeah, so that's kind of what you want to do right there. Get another piece right here, and what we're going to do is just kind of make this a little bit smaller. Not as big, but just a little bit smaller. And what we're going to do is just do the same thing, but make some sort of a V. Now, you definitely don't want to give it too much, so it's like beyond the crotch piece. Now we're actually going to make this just a bit smaller because this doesn't want to fit in. Now this one's going to be the smallest one, so you want to make this sort of small, and then this is going to fit directly inside of this one right here. Kind of like that. Kind of a little bit like that. A little bit like that. So that looks pretty cool. That looks pretty good right now. Can't even word right now. So that looks pretty good. Now what we're gonna do is just do the other side. Make this a little bit bigger, but also not as big as the first clay you rolled out. So we're gonna put that here. Now it's kind of hard to do this on camera, but I'm trying my best right now. I want you guys to know that. So we're gonna head and roll this out just a little bit. You know, use our sculpting tool. Get in there and kind of make it defined. Make your muscles more defined and give it a better kind of shape here. And don't make them too sharp. You definitely want to have this you want to give this a very bubbly look, but don't make it too thick. You want to make it small but also bubbly and very like just round. That's what you want to do with muscles. And so that's kind of what you're gonna have, the basic shape. So I'm gonna do this off cam and finish this up a little bit more, and then we can do just a little bit on the crotch piece, and then we can end this video off. Okay, so now we have sculpted the thighs right here, and I've also added 2 little balls right there on just for the knees right there. And if you guys want, you also can do some shins. I don't really want to do that because I just don't really feel like it. But you guys can add some shins. Now, what that really specifies is that all you gotta do is just do some little rectangular things right there. If you guys can see, I don't know if you guys can see very well, but I can also zoom out just a little bit. So if you guys can see right there, just a little for the shins, just some like oval shapes, and then just kind of smooth them out. So very easy for the shins, not really that hard, but I don't really want to do that for this figure that I'm making. So that I'm not going to be doing that in this video, but if you guys want to, that's just really simple on how to do that. It's not focusing very well. Alright, there we go. So this is what we have right now. Now I'm going to show you guys the last little bits right here, which is just doing the crotch piece. Now this is going to be very easy. Just creating a little, just a 3D kind of bulge, I guess. It just makes the figure look a bit more less square-like, and that's really what I'm going to be doing here. Near the crotch piece area. Now this is just, you know, just to make this a little less blocky, I guess you could say. Now you don't have to make this look very huge if you don't want to. I don't know if you guys are seeing this right now, but just kind of round this that area out just a bit. And then use your finger to kind of smooth it out as well. Now this is very optional, but I don't think this doesn't hinder any movement, which is good. So I think you might want to do this even if you aren't going to do the thighs. There you go, something like that, just to kind of give it a bit more 3Dness to it. I'm gonna fix it up just a bit, fine tune it, but that's pretty much about it. It looks kind of ugly right now, but that's about it. Now we can go ahead and end this video off. Alright guys, so that has to be it for this video. Hope you guys did enjoy, and if you guys did enjoy, hit that little like button down below, and also hit the little bell if you guys want to have notifications every time I post a video, and hit that subscribe button as well, so you guys can see future videos by me, and more minifigure showcases, hopefully. But anyways guys, so if you guys did enjoy this video, please ask any questions if you want. Comment down below what you guys thought about this tutorial, what I can improve on it, and what you guys would like to see in the future from me, either whether it be tutorials, minifigure showcases, or set reviews, or what have you. Definitely get that questions out there. And also thank you guys so much for 1,000 subscribers. It is coming very, very close. We are so close to 1,000. And also leave you guys your comments down below what you think I should do for 1,000 subscribers. I probably will be doing a video on it just to see exactly what you guys want me to do for 1,000 subscribers, because after all, you guys made this channel happen. So thank you guys so much for that as well. But yeah. So that is about it for this outro, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you guys found it helpful. I know a lot of you guys have voiced your opinions down in the comments down below on other videos on how you can actually do this, and how you can actually make muscle sculpts and make them look good. Like I said, I went all the way out. Sorry for this video being super long, but I really wanted to go all out for this tutorial, and I really wanted to give you guys everything. I didn't want to make this 2 parts because I know some of you guys might not watch the first part and it just be a whole mess. I really wanted to get this all the way out there and go very, very big. Now, like I said, if you guys have paused the video, that's completely fine. I do recommend you guys do pause the video if you guys go back. Please pause the video at certain parts that you are stuck with. If you guys have any questions down below, comment down below and I will be glad to help you with those. But anyways guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys did enjoy, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.